Welcome to our presentation. This is Jenny Lintana Susana from Group A. Here are the reports that we will be discussing according to our sources from some student of the University of Mindanao. To discuss the power of international organization, to discuss and differentiate the organs of United Nations by Nina, Francisco, and Henry.
What is international organization? International organization is a stable state set of norms and rules meant to govern the behavior of the states and the other actors in international system. International organization is also a part of global governance. ASEAN is one of the international governance. International organization functions in three ways, and it is commonly used to refer the international and intergovernmental. International organizations also have policies. It says that they are merely amalgamation of various states. And they says that they don't have any powers, but international organization has. Those are clarifications, fixed meanings, and refuse norms. And that is all about international organization. Thank you.
Now, we are going to discuss about the international organization. International organization primarily made up of member states, and it views as a legitimate sources of information. In international organization, there is a global governance which refers to the intersecting process that will create an order. And also, it is defined by the shaping of globalization with the three interacting forces, which are technology, institutions, and policy. Moving on to the fallacy. These are amalgamation of state interest, while the truth talks about the three powers, mainly classification, that creates powerful global standards, fixed meanings, the security or development terms, and lastly, diffuse norms, the accepted codes of conduct.
What are the organs of the United Nations? The principal organs of the United Nations. These are General Assembly, that means all members of the United Nations is a member of General Assembly. And there is only one representative per country. Security Council is the most powerful organ and responsible for the international peace, and also they prevent war. Economic and Social Council is responsible for promoting higher standard of living, full employment, economic and social progress. International Court of Justice settle problem legally, and the problem with this organ is that they do not have police power. Trusteeship Council is responsible for supervising the administration of trust territories and actually an old council.
We are now on our second reporting to discuss and differentiate comprehensively the state regionalism and non-state regionalism. Lastly, to discuss individually these following establishments and its reason: NATO, OPEC, NAM, and ASEAN by Darley May, Shaina, Bernie, Christian, and Myra Lou.
To discuss and differentiate comprehensively the state regionalism and non-state regionalism. A state regionalism implies that it is state-based organization, implying that it is a government-to-government relation. State regionalism may be defined as long as there is government intervention and engagement. NATO, OPEC, NAM, and ASEAN are examples of state regionalism. A non-state regionalism is an organization that is formed by citizens from various nations. Non-state regionalism is not government-based power, rather it is an individual power. Church organization, environmental organization, foundation are examples of non-state regionalism. The difference between the state regionalism and non-state regionalism: a state regionalism is government-based, it is administered by a state, whereas the non-state regionalism is citizen-based organization. Thank you.
What is the reason for their establishment? The NATO, or the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, started because of the Cold War. They wanted to have a democratic form of government, that is why they were against the Russian revolutionists. On March 4, 1947, an alliance was formed that aims for security against the communist group. On 1948, the number of alliance was increased. It was actually 2 years later, after they started the alliance, they named it NATO, or the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, on April 4, 1949. It was very controversial back then because the members of NATO are North Atlantic countries, but United States was included. They still considered US to be part of NATO because of its military power. Its focus is for their own security and for the freedom of the members of NATO in political and military aspects. NATO successfully ended the Cold War.
Non-aligned movement was founded by President Joseph Tito of Yugoslavia, President Gamal Nasser of Egypt, and the India's Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru. This movement focuses on the unity of every countries involved here by promoting and developing some part of the country. In 1961, the non-aligned movement started at Yugoslavia with 25 members participated. Environmental degradation, climate change, and religious conflicts are just some examples of the non-aligned movement challenges facing today. Up until now, the NAM is still moving, and it is known for being the second largest global organization with 55% global population.
OPEC, or Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, is a group consisting of 14 of the world's major oil exporting nations. OPEC was formed in 1960 to coordinate its members' petroleum policy to provide technical and economic assistance to its members. Their headquarters can be found at Vienna, Austria.
What is ASEAN? The Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN, is a regional grouping that promotes economic, political, and security cooperation among its 10 members. The ASEAN Declaration states that the aims of purposes of the associations are to accelerate economic, social progress, and cultural development in the region, and to promote regional peace and stability through abiding respect for justice and the rule of law in the relationship among countries.
Thank you for watching our presentation. Again, this is Group A.